Alright, here we want to look at the second principle of tangency. Second principle of tangency, or principle of tangency 2. If you remember what I said concerning the principle of tangency 1, that the principle of tangency 1 is used to join an arc with a straight line. But for the second principle of tangency, as written here, that this principle is used to join two arcs internally. So we use the second principle of tangency to join two arcs internally. Now, how will you know the internal part of an arc and the external part of an arc? And that is what I have done here. If you look at this arrow, is showing us the internal part of an arc. So which is this part here, is the internal part of an arc. The external part of an arc is this outer part of the arc. So I believe this is clear with what I've done here. Now, let's talk about the principle 2, which is used to join two arcs internally. If you look at this arc and this arc, so we have two arcs here. So let me call this arc, let me call it arc AB, arc AB. And this arc, let me call it arc LM, arc LM. So we have two arcs, arc AB and arc LM. Now, we have arc LM, it touches arc AB internally. It touched the internal part of arc AB. So how can we draw this arc LM to touch this arc AB internally? So that's what I'm going to explain here. So arc LM has radius R, small letter r, and arc AB has radius capital letter R. Now, for us to be able to draw this arc LM so that it will touch this arc AB internally, we need to locate a point. And that point is point Q that we add here, this point. So how will you get this point Q when you have to put your compass? When you have to put your compass after taking radius R here. So you put your compass at this point and draw this arc LM. So how will you get this point? It's very simple. That's what I've done here. If you look at this, the distance of this point Q from this point, let me call this point, let me call it point O here. This point is point O. So the distance of point Q from O is radius R1. You can see that we drew an arc here. So for us to be able to get this point, we need to do something. So what do we have to do? The distance of this point Q from O is R1. So what we just need to do is to subtract the radius of the smaller arc from the radius of the bigger arc, so that you can get R1. That is what I've written here. This is the formula. So once you locate this point, you subtract the radius of the smaller arc from the radius of the bigger arc. Then you put your compass, take that radius. So what I'm saying is that let's assume that R1 here, R1 is 20, but okay, let's assume that R is 40. That's the capital letter R, that is the radius of the bigger arc. And the radius of the smaller arc is 20. So it means that R1 will be equal to 20 millimeters. R1 is 20 millimeters. 40 minus 20 is 20. So R1 is 20 millimeters. What you just need to do to locate this point Q, you take a radius of 20 millimeters, you put the pinpoint on the compass at point O, and you make an arc on this line. So make an arc on this line, so you have point Q there. So the same 20 millimeters that you have on your compass, which is the radius of the smaller arc, just put it at this point Q and draw this arc. So this arc will touch this bigger arc. The smaller arc will touch the bigger arc at this point. And this point where the arc or where the arcs touch each other is known as the point of tangency T, which I said that we usually use capital letter T to indicate the point of tangency when it's come to engineering drawing or technical drawing. So I believe that is clear to you. Now, let's look at the application of the second principle of tangency, which is what we have here. So what we want to do is that we want these two circles to join, to touch this arc, internally, to touch the internal part of this arc. So how can we do that? Let's look at what we have here. This is a bigger circle. It has radius R1, and the smaller circle has radius R2. Then the distance of this arc from this point Q is R. So how can we get the point, that is point Q, when we put our compass after taking this R, so that you can draw this arc that will touch these two circles, or the two circles will touch it internally. So how can we get point Q? Alright, that is what I've explained here, that to find point Q, what you need to do is that you need to get the value of R3. Because R3, this line that has a radius of R3 is used to make this arc. This line that has a radius of R4 is used to make this arc. So when this arc intersect, we get our point Q. So how can we get R3 and how can we get R4? So what you need to do is this. For you to get R3, what you need to do is to subtract R1 from R. You subtract R1 from R. R1 is the radius of the bigger circle. So you subtract this R1 from this R. So after you have gotten the value, let's assume that the value of R is 70. Let me put it here. So we have 70. So R equals 70 millimeters, and R1 equals 30 millimeters. So for you to get R3, so R3 will be equal to 70 minus 30, which will give us 40 millimeters. So this 40 millimeters, you take it with your compass and put the pinpoint of the compass at this point. Let me call this point, let me call it point A, and let me call this point, let me call it point B. That's the center of the circles. So you put the pinpoint, after taking this 40 millimeters, put the pinpoint of your compass at this point A here, and you draw this arc. Then you calculate for R4. For you to get R4, what you just need to do is to subtract the radius of the smaller circle, which is R2, from this R. So let's assume that the radius of the smaller circle, so we still have R to be 70. So the radius of the smaller circle, let's assume that it is let's take it as 15. So that is R2 is equal to 15 millimeters. R2 is 15 millimeters. So for you to get R4, so R4 will now be equal to, we have 70 minus 15. Okay, so 70 minus 15 will give us 55. To give us 55. So you now take a radius of 55 millimeters, you take this R4, which is 55 millimeters, you put it at this point B here, which is center of the smaller circle, and you draw this arc. So these two arcs intersect at this point. They intersect at this point, which is point Q. Now, for you to draw this arc, now, you take this 70 millimeters, because we have assumed that R is 70 millimeters. So you take this 70 millimeters and you put it at point Q here. Put it at point Q here, the point of intersection of these two arcs. Put it here and it will automatically touch any point anywhere on this circle, and also it's also automatically touch anywhere on this circle. So just draw this arc. Just draw this arc. So by the time you draw this arc, these two circles will have touched this arc internally. And for us to indicate or to show the point of tangency here, the point of tangency is this point. So here we have T, and also we have T here. These are the points of tangency. So the point of tangency is a point where the arc and the circle touch each other. So it's as simple as I've explained it here. Just need to perform simple calculation and you get this done easily. Thank you for listening. God bless you.